Hi everyone, my name is Karen, this is my channel RatherBeReading, and today I'm bringing to you my October mid-month wrap-up. So as I mentioned in my September wrap-up, I've decided to do one wrap-up in the middle of the month and one wrap-up at the end of the month. So in this wrap-up, I will be talking about the books that I read from the 1st of October through to the 15th of October. So let's just jump straight in and I'll let you guys know what I read. The first book that I read was Emma by Jane Austen. If you've been watching my channel, that you'll know that I have been trying to read more classics this year, and I started out with Jane Austen. I wanted to get through all of Jane Austen's books this year. This is the fourth Austen book that I've read. I have previously read Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, Mansfield Park, and now Emma. So I really enjoyed Emma. I still think Pride and Prejudice is probably my favorite, but Emma comes in a really close second. I just really enjoyed the actual character of Emma. She's not as obviously lovable as some of Jane Austen's other main heroines. She at first wasn't sure how I felt about her, but she slowly grows on you throughout the book, and I ended up really loving her. And I just really enjoyed the book, the story overall, and some of you may know that the movie Clueless is based on Emma, and Clueless is one of my favourite movies, so I just also had a really good time just making comparisons in my mind between characters and different situations and comparing it to what happened in the movie, and so I just had a really great time reading this, and I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. The next book that I read in the beginning of October was 359 by Gretchen McNeil. This is a young adult story that follows a main character, Josie, who her life's getting a bit stressful, and then some weird events start taking place and she starts having strange dreams, and it's always happening at 3:59, either in the AM and in the PM, every 12 hours at 3:59. This book kind of deals with parallel universes and things like that. I enjoyed this, but I did have some problems with it at the same time. I found the concept really interesting, but it was definitely really science heavy in some parts, which I'm not big into science, so I didn't really enjoy those parts. And then there were other parts of the story that I found to just be extremely unrealistic. I had some other problems with this as well, but they may be slightly more spoilery, so I won't go into those. Overall, like I said, I did enjoy it. It was pretty fast paced, and I ended up giving it 3 stars. The next book that I completed in October was Desperate Deception by D.B. Tate. This is a book that I was approved for on NetGalley, so thank you to NetGalley and Momentum Books for approving me to read this one. Desperate Deception is actually the sequel to Cold Deception, which I read, I think it was back in March, and I enjoyed, and so when I saw this sequel on NetGalley, I requested it, and I was really pleased that I could read this one. This is by an Australian author, and it is set in Australia's Blue Mountains, and it is about a woman who had been to jail. In the first book, she'd just got out of jail. She'd been in jail for 10 years, and it's just kind of like a mystery series. It's following, this is a separate mystery from what the first one had, and it's just kind of them getting embroiled in this mystery and her trying to figure out what's happening. I really enjoyed the mystery in this one. It was thoroughly engrossing, and I just couldn't wait to find out what was going to happen next. I really enjoyed the main character of Julia. I find her really easy to relate to. She's extremely self-conscious, and she just questions herself a lot, and I just find that really easy to relate to. I also really enjoy the romance in these books, and as with the first book, this is set in the Blue Mountains, as I said, and the setting is just really beautiful. The author, D.B. Tate, does a really great job of painting the picture of this gorgeous mountain setting, and I just really enjoy it. Overall, I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. The next book that I read was High Five by Janet Evanovich. This is the 5th installment in the Stephanie Plum series. This series, as I've mentioned before, just follows Stephanie Plum, who is a bounty hunter, and it's just a comedic series following her adventures. I really enjoyed this installment in the series. It's probably one of my favourite ones that I've read to date. My only issue is that there's a bit more of a love triangle kind of coming to the foreground in this installment, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. And also there is the slight issue of that sometimes I feel like the author is It's like she's in a competition to see which side character she can make like the most crazy. But I do definitely still enjoy these books, and so I'll definitely be continuing on to see what adventures Stephanie Plum gets into next. The next book that I read in October was The Girl in the Park by Mariah Fredericks. This book follows a main character who used to be best friends with this girl Wendy, and they're not really friends anymore. They like drifted apart or whatever, and they're not friends anymore. And then Wendy is murdered, her body is found in the park, and it just really affects our main character. And this story kind of follows our main character Rain dealing with that, and also maybe trying to discover a little bit about who maybe could have committed this crime. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was really well written. I thought all the characters were done really well. They all had like a lot of depth, and none of them seemed like overly contrived at all, which I really appreciated. I did guess the like plot twist pretty early on, but it didn't really bother me at all. This book has like some really great messages, so I was just kind of like, I enjoyed reading about that, and so knowing kind of where the story was going didn't bother me too much. One of the things I really appreciated about this story is that it really shows how different people are affected by grief, and how even sometimes people who don't know a person that well can be deeply affected by someone's death. And I just really enjoyed this story, and I ended up giving it 3.75 stars. The sixth and final book that I'm going to talk about today that I read from the 1st through the 15th of October was Shadows by Paula Weston. This is another book that I was approved for on NetGalley, so thank you to Hatchet Children's Group and NetGalley for approving me to read this one. This book was actually originally published, I'm not sure if it was in like 2012 or 2013, but I believe that the final book in the series had recently been released, and so this one was on NetGalley and I saw it, and I'd heard a few things on BookTube about this series, some positive things, so I requested it, and I was really pleased to get to read it. This book follows our main character Gabby, who about a year ago was in a horrific car accident with her twin brother who was killed. She was severely injured. She is trying to recover from this accident, both physically and emotionally, dealing with the death of her twin brother. She has been having some really weird dreams where she's like in like a weird nightclub or something, and she's killing like demons. And there's always this guy by her side in these dreams who she's fighting the demons with. And then one day, this guy from her dreams, like literally the guy from her dreams, like appears in town, and things just kind of go from there. I loved this book. I absolutely devoured this book. I read this in a day. I stayed up quite late the night that I was reading it to get it finished, because I just needed to know what was going to happen next. I just really, really, really thoroughly enjoyed my reading experience when reading this one. The story is extremely fast-paced and intriguing. At no point whatsoever was I bored. I really enjoyed the plot. I enjoyed the characters. I ship Gabby and Ruffa so hard. Like, I cannot remember the last time I was this invested, like, in a relationship, like a book relationship. Like, I just love these guys, and I just want them to be together. I cannot wait to pick up the other 3 books in this series, as this is a 4-book series. I may even be breaking some of my book buying rules in order to get my hands on these books, because I need to know what's going to happen next, and I enjoyed this book so much. Obviously, I gave it 5 stars. I definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't. If this even slightly sounds like something you would be interested in, pick it up and give it a go, because I'm so glad I did, because it was just amazing. So those are the 6 books that I read from the 1st through the 15th of October. I'd love to know what you guys got read in the beginning of October, or if you've read any of these books and have any thoughts. Let's chat down in the comments below. Please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want to see more. But that's all I've got for this video today. Bye guys.